Another devastating blow to the Ohio State offensive line as center Seth McLaughlin suffers an Achilles injury at practice yesterday.
Achilles on a non-contact injury, and crushed for Seth and our team. But once that wears off, you got to move on, and it's an X man up mentality, and certainly nobody cares. And so we'll make adjustments, and we'll move Carson to center and move Austin in there to left guard, and those guys were there today. Had a very good practice, very spirited practice, and I thought Will did a great job after that went down yesterday, and then even today. And so excited for those guys to get in there and have a great game, and it's a great opportunity for those guys now. They both played a lot of football. We won a lot of games with Carson in center, and Austin's played, and again, it's like a body blow when something like that happens. Seth means a lot to this team and what he's done since he's been here. We'll talk about that in another moment, but we're going to move on and focus on the future and focus on the guys that'll be in the game.
But the energy was still up at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center as Seth showed up at practice to show his leadership and support to his teammates who returned the favor and gave all of their well wishes because some of them have had injuries of their own and know just how hard it can be.
Yeah, first of all, my obviously thoughts and prayers out to Seth because I know what it's like to be there. But yeah, like you said, it's definitely tough, especially being at the end of the year. I'm getting injured like that, but I mean, he's been so great, obviously handling it so well. But he's already out here. He was out here supporting us at practice, and I think the biggest thing to tell him is just everything's gonna be all right. Like, it might seem like the end of the world right now at this moment, but you're gonna be all right. Just continue to obviously be there for the team, but I think just lean on God. That's really what I did.
I mean, it's obviously heartbreaking for a player like that with his potential and accolades he had set up for him. But, you just got to go up to the next person, and then we just got to give him all the prayers and everything that he needs to keep going and to get to that next step in his life. But nothing but prayers for him, honestly. It's sad.
We have seen the patchwork that this offensive line has been able to put together after Josh Simmons went out against Oregon. Donovan Jackson has been playing at left tackle, but with Seth McLaughlin now out for the rest of the season, Carson Hinsman will have to move back to center after playing guard for Donovan.
I see some confidence in him. I think he's learned a lot from Seth this year. I think they've been great together. I think he gained a lot of confidence coming out of the Penn State game. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He had a very good practice today. So he has experience too at center, so he's done it. And I think having Will there, Will's been great today with him, and they communicate well in terms of making the IDs, and they'll meet together and make sure they're on the same page. But yeah, I mean, he's every year as an offensive lineman, you grow, you change, you learn, and he'll be ready this weekend.
I've played at tough environments and at high levels. He's already played in a lot of tough matchups games last year, and then this year he played in another tough games already this season. So we have confidence in what he can do and executing the game plan.
He does have a full year of starting experience from last year, and Austin Saraville will then move back into left guard, which he has had starts this season. But this just shows how much adversity this team has faced, but it really comes down to the culture that they've built to be able to overcome it.
Exactly. I think our culture here is just fight, and I think we faced adversity earlier on in the season, and just to see how we bounced back and responded to it was a really great way. So I'm really proud of our team.
Yeah, it means a lot. It says so much about Seth, the type of player he is, the type of leader he is. I mean, that was a leader. That's a leader of our team, and when he's going down, he could have just been at home right now, just in his sorrows. But he's out here helping the team out, man. That says a lot about him, and we appreciate him for that.
And losing such a tough leader like Seth has been a tough blow to the Ohio State offensive line, but we see him at practice, and he's still showing his support for his team down the stretch. But Donovan Jackson has said that it's not easy switching positions.
It's a whole nother position. I feel like people think that you're just moving one other spot. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. No, it's a whole nother thing. Your footwork's obviously different. You work in space a lot more. You're going against different people. At guard, you're going against guys who are 330, 340. You take one step and they're already trying to bull rush you into the quarterback. At tackle, you got to set out to deep waters against a guy who's probably around 250, runs about as fast as a wideout, and has a 10-yard head start into your chest. And so, obviously, there's different aspects of it, different viewpoint when it comes to run game. But I'll say pass game is probably the biggest difference between it all. But I've gotten a lot of help between the guys on this team, film room, Coach Drev, Coach Salini, obviously Coach Fry. We're trying to improve of where I'm at. So play at the highest level that I know I'm capable of doing.
But he put on a great performance against Penn State, and now we see the offensive line being named a finalist in the Jim Thorpe Award. But this is just another test to what they're going to have to put together down the stretch of the final extended playoffs and the rest of the regular season.
You know, I've obviously I can Seth isn't a role that you can fill. You know, he was his own unique individual, and so I can only do what Donovan Jackson can do as best as I can. So and it's not just me. We have a lot of experienced guys on the O-line. Me, Fryer, Carson's obviously 2 seasons playing now, and so we all have our individual experience. So like just trying to come together as a unit to try to just shuffle around, just once again try to put the best product on the field.
I know Seth's still great-minded. I mean, he still looks forward to things, and he's not going all down about it. I mean, he has all his brothers here. We all love him, and he loves us. So I mean, we'll embrace him and we'll hug on him, and we'll just try to make him feel the best he can.
Part of being able to play different positions is going to be a key factor with depth and having an extended playoff. And Caden Curry talked about how depth is going to be key, but places like Ohio State, they're bred to be able to do this in those big matchups.
I mean, when you're at Ohio State, you have the best versus the best every day. So I feel like everybody kind of gets that next step, and everybody kind of plays into that. They want to know, like, if they get that role, they're already ready for it. So I feel like we got all the depth that we need, and we have all the players ready for it. So I think just plugging and putting the spots that we need to, and just keep playing our game. It's all about us.
Speaking of playing up against the best, you can't hit your quarterback at practice, but Will Howard is third in efficiency throughout the nation. Number 2 is Rourke, who you'll be up against in Indiana. Looking at that Michigan game and seeing where they could have had some weaker moments, how key was that game in that those are your 2 following opponents down the stretch?
I mean, having them 2 as our last 2 opponents and seeing how they just played each other last week kind of just gives us insight of what we have ahead and what we can do and how we can play it. So, I mean, just taking it all in at one time and not looking ahead.
And what have you seen about Rourke in particular and the games they've played? They haven't had the competition that you guys have faced to this point, but maybe that Michigan game may have exposed something for you.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to all that stuff, it's kind of just about us. We don't really look ahead or kind of see anybody differently. It's kind of more just how we play, and if we play good, then it should show.
You wake up the next day and you move on. But yeah, it's tough. But that's why you recruit depth, and that's why you work to get those guys in the game. That's why you work in the off season to build depth. And we knew things like this can happen. And this is not the NFL. You can't just sign guys off of waivers. You have to have guys ready to go because, again, at the end of the day, nobody cares. We got to move on and we got to win games.
With running back combo, Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State has been wanting to get their run game going. But how this Ohio State offensive line has suffered so many injuries, and now with Seth out for the season, how does that affect their run game for Quinshon?
With Seth being such a great leader that he's been, and the role he plays was so huge on our team. And that was a huge blow to us, but I think our coaches have done such a great job, and the players and all the mentality that we have as far as just stepping up, and I think those guys will go and execute this week. So I don't have any worries about what we perform, anything like that, but I think we'll be fine.
As with Seth, Quinshon has said that transferring into Ohio State has been so influential to them, but also Coach Jay said that it's been just as impactful for the whole team, but it has to be a culture fit. The whole team has to be able to vibe together, and that's helped them get through all the adversity that they've faced this season.
It's a tradition, and I think, when you come to a place like this, it's a one-of-a-kind place, so when you come, you're kind of knowing what to expect when you come in and, to buy into the program. But I think, just me and all the other transfers, I can't really speak for them, but for myself, as far as me coming in, I think, I just had such a great experience getting to know so many people, not only on the football field, but just developing so many relationships around Columbus. So it's just been such a treasure to be here.
For as consistent as Indiana has been, we saw them struggle against Michigan in their last game before their bye week. And I asked Caden Curry how that helps them with the 2 final opponents they face in Michigan and Indiana.
To be the best, I mean, we got to push each other to get better, and then we're just trying to rise against every other team. We're just trying to practice harder than they are that day. So I feel like it kind of pays off, and we're just going as hard as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. We always go into the year just looking to get to November with all our goals in front of us. And now we're in November. It's probably the most important month of the year when it comes to football. So we kind of carry it with that way. So every practice means more, every game means more, just like you're saying. Team down pat. So we got a lot of respect for them. So we're just going to look in there to go in there on Saturday and play hard.
The Buckeyes are keeping their heads up as they go into another top 5 matchup against Indiana.